Hello, and welcome to Starry Storytime, a gentle, soothing space where evening stories and soft whispers guide you into a peaceful night's rest. Tonight, we're offering another relaxing tale designed to help ease your mind and lead you toward a comforting slumber. Before we begin, let's take a moment to prepare our bodies and minds for deep rest. Find a comfortable position, and with each slow inhale and soft exhale, let any worries from the day quietly slip away. It can be challenging to step away from the day's hustle, especially when it's time to sleep. Yet remember, the less we worry about falling asleep, the easier it becomes for our minds to let go of lingering tension. Allow the gentle rhythm of your breath to wash away any remaining concerns, and let tonight's story guide you into serenity. Now, settle in and let the soothing aura of Starry Storytime surround you. May you enjoy this story and drift into a tranquil, restorative night's sleep. The gentle patter of raindrops dances against the bedroom window, crafting a soothing rhythm that guides Lily from her dreams into the soft embrace of morning. She listens closely to each droplet as it lightly taps on the glass, counting them until they blend into a symphony too fast to track. Instead, she lets her mind drift, likening the sound to grains of rice spilling into a jar. This is the song of the season, she reflects, relishing the rain's melody and the faint whisper of leaves rustling outside. Imagining the vibrant colors of autumn and the gradual farewell to the year, Lily smiles and stretches her arms overhead. Though darkness still cloaks the world beyond her window, it's time for her to rise. Soon she will don her hat and coat, setting off for the bakery to welcome the day's first customers. Even though she begins her day earlier than most neighbors, Lily finds joy in her routine. She loves her work and eagerly looks forward to placing the first batch of pastries in the oven and brewing that very first pot of coffee. The delight on familiar faces makes those early hours worthwhile, ensuring she's ready for a peaceful night when evening falls. Sitting up in bed, she uncovers her legs and slips her feet into the cozy slippers waiting on the floor before rising with a soft yawn. Quietly padding into the kitchen, Lily savors this tranquil hour when night gently surrenders to dawn. Through the window, she catches sight of morning light, casting a warm glow on the gray facade of her neighbor's house, where its occupant remains fast asleep. He usually stirs later in the morning, savoring his coffee before tending to his garden with tender care for each flower and shrub. Lily admires his beautiful plants and feels grateful for the warmth and community shared among everyone on their street. Reaching the kitchen counter, Lily brews herself a cup of strong black tea, her favorite way to start the day. As she adds a splash of milk, she watches it swirl gracefully through the dark brew. With steaming cup in hand, she settles into her usual spot beneath the kitchen window and takes that first sip. The rich flavor envelops her senses like a cozy embrace from glowing embers on a chilly day. As Lily gazes through the window at the sky, she observes a thick blanket of clouds hanging over the town. She suspects that today will be devoid of sunshine, but this doesn't trouble her. The autumn rains are a familiar sight, and she finds joy in the distinct feelings that this season brings. Without the rain, she wouldn't have the chance to don her favorite cozy sweaters, slip into her cheerful rubber boots, wrap herself in warm scarves, or wield her bright umbrella. Rain can be quite delightful when paired with snug attire and a steaming cup of tea. After savoring the last sip of her tea and rinsing her cup in the sink, she places it on a small bamboo rack to dry. Then, she heads to her bedroom to prepare for the day ahead. With one last look at her inviting bed, she makes her way to the front door, knowing that rest will come later. In the hallway, she dons her soft felt hat and wool scarf before grabbing her sunny yellow umbrella. As she closes the door behind her with a soft click, she steps out onto the walkway and opens the umbrella, which unfurls into a vibrant canopy above her head. Out of the corner of her eye, she spots the familiar little white cat in the window of the neighboring house, a home belonging to a kind woman who often wears her hair in a bun. The cat watches Lily pass by with an inscrutable expression. Lily beams and gives a friendly wave. Aside from that fluffy feline companion, the neighborhood is still and peaceful. As she strolls along, Lily passes charming houses with darkened windows still in slumber. A few porch lights flicker gently above brick steps, while street lamps cast a warm yellow glow that dances upon the rain-soaked pavement. The sound of raindrops tapping against her umbrella creates a soothing rhythm. Underneath its cheerful yellow shelter, she feels safe and dry, much like those childhood days spent building forts from pillows and blankets, snuggled beneath layers of cotton and fleece back then. It felt as if the entire world had shrunk into a calm and secure haven just for her. Lily beams at the cherished memory and adjusts her woolen scarf snugly around her neck with her free hand. She gracefully leaps over a puddle on her left and glides around another on her right as she makes her way down the hill towards the bakery's parking lot. In the distance, the shop's vividly painted door stands out brilliantly against the dreary backdrop. Swirls of green, blue, yellow, purple, and orange frolic across the wooden facade, inviting everyone to step inside. She can vividly recall that summer evening from years ago when she painted the door. With brush in hand, she let her imagination run wild, intertwining a spectrum of colors into spiraling designs that adorned the wood. When she stepped back to admire her work, she brushed a stray lock of hair from her face and noticed her overalls and hands were speckled with dried paint. A laugh escaped her lips, filled with the joy of transforming the ordinary into something beautiful, even if just in a small way. Now, Lily retrieves her set of brass keys and inserts one into the lock of the door. It creaks open, unveiling the darkened interior of the still-sleeping bakery. She shakes off her umbrella and gently taps a switch with her fingertip. The lights burst to life, and she lets out a satisfied sigh. It feels wonderful to be back in the bakery once more. The delightful scents of flour, sugar, and espresso beans greet her as she strolls through the peaceful shop. These fragrances drift toward her from the kitchen, remnants of yesterday's baking adventures. There's also a whisper of toasted pecans, lingering from the pie she prepared just before closing. As she prepares for another day in the bakery, thoughts of all that she plans to create today fill her mind. she turns on the oven to let it warm up. First on her list are cinnamon rolls, her usual favorite. But today, she thinks with excitement, she'll add some toasted pecans for an extra delightful crunch. She gathers all the metal parts of the espresso machine that had been drying on the rack overnight. And yes, pumpkin pie is also on today's agenda. This time of year always brings customers asking when they can expect those beloved treats. Some prefer ordering by the slice, while others hope to take home an entire pie to share with their loved ones. Lily strolls over to the inviting seating nook and gently reaches down to the wall. Her fingertips brush against a plug, which she carefully connects to the socket. Instantly, strands of fairy lights sparkle above her, casting a soft glow. For a brief moment, she pauses, allowing her thoughts to settle. Taking a deep breath, Lily gazes up at the twinkling lights. As she exhales, a wave of tranquility envelops her. She reflects on the importance of slowing down and savoring life's little moments. For these are what truly make life enchanting. With the lights shimmering overhead, she glides over to the counter and into the quaint kitchen area. From this vantage point, she can see the entire shop and effortlessly transition from her baking station to the espresso machine whenever customers arrive. She retrieves 2 large white buckets filled with dough from beneath the counter. The sticky mixture has risen beautifully overnight. Pouring it onto the wooden surface, she flattens it out and sprinkles it generously with cinnamon sugar and toasted pecans. Using her fingertips, she rolls it into a thick log before slicing it into rounds that reveal delicate spirals of filling within. Dusting each piece with more cinnamon sugar, she places the tray in the oven to bake. Moments later, the delightful aroma of freshly baked cinnamon rolls fills the bakery. The comforting scent mingles with the warmth of the oven, making Lily feel completely at home. After a while, she hears the oven beep and carefully removes the tray of rolls, setting it on a wire rack to cool. Now it's time to begin her pie. She makes her way to the pantry at the back of the kitchen and opens its door wide. To Lily, this space is like her own enchanted room, brimming with every ingredient and supply she could ever desire. Tubs of flour and baking powder sit neatly stacked beneath large jars, filled with spices and bottles bursting with flavor extracts. A jar filled with vanilla pods rests on the highest shelf alongside star anise. Fresh cloves, poppy seeds, onion powder, roasted garlic, and chili flakes. And there, tucked away on the bottom shelf near the back, are fresh sugar pumpkins from a nearby farm. Lily selects a sturdy, medium-sized pumpkin and tucks it snugly under her arm. In a large metal mixing bowl, she gathers an array of jars filled with spices and a couple of wooden spoons. She carries everything with the grace of someone accustomed to juggling more than they ought to. Once at the counter, she gently sets down her bundle of ingredients. The first task is to roast the pumpkin. With care, she slices the gourd in half and scoops out the stringy insides and seeds. Then she places both halves face down on a baking tray before sliding them into the oven to cook and soften. While the oven works its wonders on the pumpkin, Lily turns her attention to making the crust. There are countless types of crusts she could choose from, but her favorite is graham cracker crust. She learned this delightful recipe from her Aunt Lucy, who always baked mini pies for all the children during the festive season. Lily retrieves a plastic sleeve of graham crackers from their cheerful blue box and sets it on the counter. Covering it with a tea towel, she fetches her large, sturdy rolling pin. With gentle pressure, she rolls it back and forth over the towel, crushing the crackers beneath. As she moves the pin from side to side, she enjoys the smooth wooden handles gliding under her palms, while the crackers crackle and crumble under its weight. When they reach a texture reminiscent of coarse sand, she carefully opens the corners of the bag and pours its contents into a mixing bowl. A little cloud of graham cracker dust tickles her nose. Next, Lily strolls over to the gleaming silver refrigerator and retrieves a stick of butter. She unwraps its waxy cover and drops it into a mixing cup before placing it in the microwave for just a few seconds until it melts into a golden liquid. Pouring the butter into the bowl with the crumbs, she adds a generous sprinkle of sugar and cinnamon. Using a long wooden spoon, she stirs everything together until it feels like damp sand. With her fingers, she spreads this mixture evenly across the bottom and sides of a shallow pie dish. Methodically working over the crust, she ensures not to let any cracks form along the edges, pressing here and smoothing there, until it takes shape as an even brown base. The oven beeps once more, signaling that it's time for another step. Donning her thick, colorful oven mitts, Lily carefully lifts out the tray of roasted pumpkin before sliding her prepared pie dish into place in the oven. Setting the timer for 12 minutes ensures that her crust will become delightfully crunchy, just strong enough to support the weight of her luscious filling. At that moment, a soft creak echoes through the shop as the wooden door swings open. Her first visitor of the day has arrived. It's Seamus, the gentle old man who enjoys sipping his coffee while reading the newspaper and indulging in a cinnamon roll. However, on special days like today, when she bakes pumpkin pie, he has something else to look forward to. He greets Lily with a warm smile as she pours a delicate stream of coffee into his mug. After so many years of visiting her cafe, he no longer needs to place an order. By the time he reaches the counter and wishes her a good morning, Lily already has his breakfast prepared. "It smells like pumpkin pie is on the menu," he remarks cheerfully, taking his cup in hand. Lily beams back at him and assures him that she'll bring out a slice as soon as it's baked to perfection. He expresses his gratitude and settles into his usual spot by the window, unfolding the crisp pages of the morning paper. With his presence, it truly feels like the day has begun. Lily finds joy in working while Seamus is in her shop. He is as integral to this place as any of her other loyal patrons. Together, they form a close-knit community, a family of sorts, and they all consider Rainy Day Bakery their home. Glancing at the timer, she notes that the crust is ready to be taken out. Donning her oven mitts, she retrieves the dish from the oven, inhaling its warm, sweet aroma, a delightful scent that Seamus would describe as heavenly. Now, her focus shifts to preparing the pumpkin filling. Using a spoon, she carefully scoops out the vibrant orange flesh from the pumpkin skin and transfers it into a large bowl. With a wooden spoon, she mashes it until it achieves a velvety smooth texture. Next, she brings over eggs and heavy cream from the refrigerator, cracking each egg one by one into the pumpkin mixture. As she pours in the cream, she watches it cascade through waves of orange puree, like little rivers of pearl flowing through a sunset landscape. Lily scoops generous spoonfuls of cinnamon, ground ginger, nutmeg, cloves, and cardamom into her mixing bowl. The blend of spices evokes all the warmth and familiarity of this special season, a fragrant reminder of holidays filled with family and togetherness. As she stirs, the air around her seems to wrap her in a comforting embrace of cherished memories and delightful scents. To enhance the filling's flavor, she grates a hint of lemon zest, adding a touch of brightness and zing. With one final stir, the mixture transforms into a perfectly smooth and velvety blend. Carefully, she pours the filling into the crust, using a spatula to scrape every last bit from the bowl. Then, she gingerly carries the slightly wobbly pie to the oven, placing it gently on the rack. With the timer set, Lily takes a moment to relax. Leaning back against her table, she gazes around her shop. In one corner stands a bookshelf filled with an assortment of paperbacks, left by patrons alongside large art books. Over the years, she's contributed several mystery novels herself. Once she finishes reading them, she enjoys passing them on to others, hoping they will bring joy to new readers as well. Nearby sits a small hand-painted rocking chair for children that she discovered in a second-hand store long ago. It now resides in her bakery for her younger guests. Over time, little ones have adorned it with their own artistic touches. Flowers and bees painted here and there, along with squiggly lines and tiny scratches. The oven timer beeps, pulling Lily back to her baking duties. The pie is ready. As she opens the oven door, a rush of warm air greets her like a dragon's breath, carrying with it the nutty and sweet aroma of freshly baked pumpkin pie. She carefully removes the dish from the oven and sets it on the counter to cool, while she tidies up her mixing bowls, rolling pins, and measuring cups. By the window, Seamus watches intently at the pie with curious eyes. With a smile, Lily cuts him a slice before deciding to treat herself as well by slicing an extra piece for herself. After such a long morning in the kitchen, there's nothing more delightful than savoring something sweet alongside an old friend. She carefully presents each slice on a small white plate, topping them with a generous dollop of freshly whipped cream. As she carries them to the table by the window, she settles into her seat across from Seamus. "It smells delightful, just like every year," he comments, eagerly diving into the filling with his fork. Lily takes her first bite, savoring the zesty pumpkin flavor that dances on her tongue. The taste is rich and fragrant, wrapping her in a warm embrace of sweet spices. Perfect, she thinks, truly perfect. While enjoying her pie, Lily gazes around her snug bakery. Seamus's smile warms her heart. There's something truly special about sharing autumn days with good friends, she reflects. Her eyes wander to the twinkling fairy lights that shimmer in harmony with the rhythmic raindrops pattering against the window. These little touches make this place feel like home, Lily muses softly. The bakery holds countless stories within its walls, tales of all those who have walked through its creaky wooden door. A content smile graces her face as she realizes this is exactly where she belongs. Raindrops dance against the window near Lily's bed. Occasionally, a strong gust of wind makes the rain tap harder against the glass. Nestled under her covers, with her eyes closed, Lily listens to the storm's ever-changing melody. It looks like it will be a blustery day, she thinks, cherishing these final moments in bed before morning calls her to rise. These are some of Lily's favorite times when her thoughts drift into daydreams, and she still clings to that cozy feeling of deep slumber. Soon enough, a yawn stretches across her face, prompting her to reach out and stretch her arms wide. She rolls her ankles gently in circles, preparing them for movement when she finally gets up. Breathing deeply and exhaling slowly, she allows herself to sink further into the softness of the sheets. Just a little longer, she whispers to herself, a gentle smile lingering on her lips. The rain continues its rhythmic tapping against the window, as if curtains of water are being drawn open and shut repeatedly. A sudden gust of wind shakes the branches of the tree outside, sending a shower of raindrops cascading toward the house. Days like this always fill Lily with excitement. The wildness of the weather seems to spark a sense of adventure within her. With that thought in mind, she pushes herself up to sit at the edge of the bed and stands up, casting a glance out the window as she does so. As usual, the world outside remains cloaked in darkness. Lily rises earlier than most of her neighbors, eager to have the bakery ready and welcoming by the time the rest of the town begins to stir. She knows that everyone else is still nestled in their dreams, even the cats likely curled up in their soft beds or sprawled out on sunny windowsills, waiting for the dawn to break. Slipping her feet into her cozy slippers, she tiptoes into the kitchen. The first task of her day is to set the kettle on for a steaming cup of robust tea. Leaning against the counter, she listens intently as the water starts to bubble and rumble. From a drawer, Lily pulls out a small metal tea ball and carefully fills it with aromatic strands of loose-leaf black tea. Each leaf juts out at an odd angle inside the ball, so she takes care to seal it tightly without letting any escape. She hooks the tea ball over her cup using a delicate chain and metal hook. Once the water reaches its boiling point, she pours it over the tea. Bubbles rise from within the metal sphere, causing it to bob slightly before settling at the bottom. A swirl of color begins to spread through the clear water as it dances around. Bringing the cup to her nose, she inhales deeply. There's something truly delightful about the scent of hot tea on a brisk morning. Feeling a bit adventurous today, she opts to skip her usual splash of milk and savor it black instead. Yet, craving a touch of familiarity, she carries her cup over to her favorite wooden chair beneath the kitchen window, her cherished spot for enjoying morning tea while gazing at her sleepy neighborhood through the glass. Some mornings, gentle rays of sunlight would already be peeking through clouds at this hour, but today, a thick blanket of gray looms overhead, with rain falling steadily and only interrupted by gusts of wind that dance among the branches of a tree across the street. It's definitely coat weather today, she muses. Sipping her tea slowly, she feels warmth spreading through her with each drop, She wiggles her toes inside her fuzzy slippers, delighting in the tingling sensation that travels across her skin. This is truly a perfectly cozy morning, she thinks contentedly to herself. Once Lily finished her tea, she rinsed out her cup and set it gently on a bamboo rack by the sink to dry. Even without the sun shining down, she felt it was time to get ready for her journey to the bakery. With years of experience running her shop every morning, Lily had developed a sort of internal clock that was perfectly attuned to her routine. She instinctively knew when to wrap up her tea and when to step out the door in order to reach the bakery right on time. Selecting a gray shirt that matched the overcast sky, Lily made her way to her bedroom to dress. She slipped into her thick wool coat, fastening the buttons with care, and wrapped a cozy cable-knit scarf around her neck. A treasured gift from one of her devoted customers, Rose, 2 winters ago. This scarf was more than just a piece of clothing. It held cherished memories of friendships formed over time, filling Lily's heart with warmth each time she wore it. With the scarf snugly covering her chin and a pair of oversized gloves pulled from her coat pockets, Lily picked up her beloved yellow umbrella before stepping outside. As she closed the door behind her, she paused on the front step to open the umbrella. Despite the wind trying to push back against her efforts, she managed to unfurl its bright canopy, adding a splash of sunshine to the dreary morning. As she stepped onto the sidewalk, she sheltered herself from the heavy raindrops that danced against the umbrella's surface. As she walked along, Lily noticed the small white cat that usually greeted her from her neighbor's window. Today, however, it was still curled up in slumber, nestled in the warmth of its home. Normally so alert and watchful, this little feline was enjoying a lazy start to its day. Watching it nap peacefully behind the glass made Lily briefly long for the comfort of her own bed. Yet thoughts of her loyal customers brought a smile to her face and filled her with determination to brave any weather, rain or shine, to open the doors of Rainy Day Bakery each day. As she strolls along the damp pavement toward town, she deftly avoids the large puddles that have formed every few steps. The sidewalk glimmers under the glow of the streetlights, though the sun remains concealed behind a blanket of clouds. It seems like it will be one of those gloomy mornings, she reflects. Up ahead, she catches sight of the bakery door, painted in cheerful hues that stand out against the muted light, beckoning all who pass by. On a day like this, it serves as a refuge where visitors can step inside to enjoy a warm drink, indulge in a slice of pie or a cinnamon roll, and lose themselves in an enthralling book. Some patrons prefer to engage in lively conversations, savoring the company of both familiar faces and new friends within this welcoming space. She recognizes that her bakery has truly woven itself into the fabric of the community, a cherished home away from home where everyone can find something to lift their spirits. Lost in thought, a sudden gust of wind turns her umbrella inside out. Startled, Lily hastens toward the vibrant door, fumbling with her brass keys to unlock it. Gripping her now turned umbrella tightly, she pushes the door open, revealing the quiet darkness of the bakery within. After carefully wiping her feet on the mat to reduce wet footprints, Lily flicks on the lights, illuminating the cozy shop. Examining her yellow umbrella, she notices its bent metal ribs and the broken slider that no longer holds up its canopy. With a resigned sigh, she places it down at the entrance, acknowledging its loyal service over the years, but accepting that it's time for a new one. Planning to spend her entire day in the bakery, Lily wonders when she will find a moment to shop for an umbrella replacement. She anticipates a soggy walk home later, but is well acquainted with local weather and resolves to embrace it. Taking a deep breath to clear her mind, she immerses herself in thoughts of her tasks for the day, greeted by the comforting aromas of espresso beans, flour, and pecans lingering from last night's work. On most days, she begins with baking cinnamon rolls. However, today feels different, perhaps inspired by her tea or swayed by the wind and rain tapping against the ground outside. Lily senses it's time for something new. Moving into the snug seating area, she bends down to plug in a string of fairy lights. In no time at all, they twinkle above her like stars in a night sky. With renewed energy in her step, she heads back to the pantry and scans the shelves, brimming with baking supplies and ingredients stacked high. What shall I bake today? She muses softly to herself. Just 2 days ago, she delighted her customers with a freshly baked blueberry pie, followed by zesty lemon squares and sweet pecan rolls yesterday, and chocolate muffins the week before. All these treats were cherished by those who visited her bakery. Yet deep down, Lily found herself contemplating what would truly bring her joy. A few years back, while exploring the family home, she had discovered her grandmother's treasured cookbook tucked away on a shelf. As she flipped through its well-loved pages, she came across a recipe she had never tried before. Captivated by the idea, she marked the page with a scrap of paper nestled in the spine. Now, that beloved cookbook rests on a dark wooden shelf against the back wall of her pantry. With a smile lighting up her face, Lily approaches the book and turns to the marked page. The recipe is simply titled Baked Apples. In the margins, yellowed with age, she notices her grandmother's distinctive handwriting, a note that reads, "Perfect for a chilly autumn day." Scattered throughout the page are her grandmother's thoughtful annotations, little tips and tweaks to enhance the dish. This is what I'll make today, Lily decides with excitement. It's time to embark on a new culinary adventure. The list of ingredients is refreshingly simple. She will need butter, brown sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, rolled oats, chopped pecans, and several large apples. Gathering everything together, Lily returns behind the counter with her supplies. She sets the butter out to soften and begins preparing the nuts. After chopping them roughly, she places them aside before measuring out the oats. Finally, she turns on the oven and allows it to preheat. The next step in the recipe requires a bit more finesse. She must core each apple carefully to create a pocket for the filling without slicing them in half. Next to the instructions her grandmother had written, use paring knife and spoon. With great care, Lily takes her paring knife and gently pierces near the stem of the first apple. She slides it in and carves a careful circle around the core. Slowly twisting helps release it from its base until it pops free. The hollow apple now resembles a pumpkin after its seeds have been scooped out. Setting that one aside, she moves on to the next apple. Before long, this task becomes second nature, as she swiftly removes each core in one smooth motion until she has a delightful lineup of apples ready for their filling. Now it's time to prepare the delightful filling. Lily gathers the softened butter, sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg, blending them together with a wooden spoon until the spices are harmoniously combined. Once everything is mixed well, she adds in the oats and chopped pecans. With care, she fills each apple generously with this scrumptious mixture. After stuffing the apples to perfection, she arranges them beautifully in ceramic pie dishes. Following her grandmother's wise advice, she pours water into each dish, just enough to cover the bottoms of the apples, ensuring they won't dry out or burn. With everything ready, she dons her thick oven mitts and places the pie dishes on the metal racks inside the oven, closing the door gently before setting the timer to remind her when it's time to check on them. As she tidies up her workspace, Lily hears the familiar creak of the bakery door opening. It's Rose, a beloved customer, who has blossomed into a dear friend over the years. Rose greets Lily with a warm smile, hangs her scarf on a chair, and walks over to the counter where Lily has prepared her coffee. After expressing her gratitude with a cheerful grin, Rose asks about Lily's day. Excitedly, Lily shares all about her grandmother's recipe for baked apples and invites Rose to be her very first taste tester. They chat about the blustery autumn weather outside. Lily mentions that her umbrella is broken and worries about finding a replacement before heading home. Rose reassures her with a gentle pat on her arm and comforting words before settling down at a table with her coffee. Before long, another regular customer named Seamus walks in. Lily serves him his coffee and promises him one of those delicious baked apples once they're ready. Throughout the morning, one by one, all of her regulars arrive. Some have braved the storm with rain-soaked coats, while others protect themselves from the drizzle with folded newspapers or shake out their umbrellas as they enter. Lily happily attends to each of them, serving an array of coffees, teas, and pastries with warmth and care. As the timer chimed, Lily shifted her gaze from the cozy seating area to the oven. With great care, she retrieved the pie dishes brimming with apples, now tender and syrupy. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of Rose chatting with various customers. A fleeting curiosity sparked in her mind about their early morning conversation. But soon enough, her focus returned to her task. Gently, she lifted the apples from the water-soaked dishes and arranged them onto individual plates. Next, she made her way to the refrigerator where she grabbed a carton of whipping cream. Pouring some into a bowl, she sprinkled sugar on top before using a handheld mixer to whip it into fluffy cream. The soft whirring of the mixer filled the air as Lily glanced up just in time to see Rose exit through the door. But she hasn't even tasted her baked apple yet, Lily thought. Once soft peaks formed in the cream, she turned off the mixer. With a metal spoon in hand, Lily added a generous dollop of whipped cream atop each apple and drizzled her famous caramel sauce over them. The delightful scent of warm apples mingled with rich cream wafted through the room. creating an inviting atmosphere that felt like home. She carefully carried the first plate to Seamus and set it down before him, before moving on to serve a family tucked away in a corner. A woman absorbed in her newspaper, and a man who often ordered cranberry scones. While distributing the apples, Lily noticed Rose returning through the door, holding a long package wrapped in shiny paper. Rose waved at Lily, beckoning her closer. "This is for you," she said with a smile as she handed over the package. Attached was a handwritten note that read, "To Lily, from all your friends at the Rainy Day Bakery." As Lily unwrapped it, she uncovered a bright new umbrella, green with cheerful yellow polka dots, and a handle shaped like a duck's head. "This might be the most delightful umbrella I've ever seen," Lily exclaimed to Rose as she admired it. "Thank you so much." Glancing around the room, Lily noticed that other customers were beaming too. It dawned on her that this gift came from all of them, a heartfelt gesture from her friends. A wave of warmth and happiness washed over her. This place and its people truly made her feel at home. "I have something for you as well," she said playfully to Rose as she handed over one of the last 2 baked apples, made from her grandmother's cherished recipe. The other one she decided to keep for herself. Nestled together by the window, they gaze out at the dreary, drizzly day unfolding outside. Yet, within the cozy confines of the Rainy Day Bakery, warmth, safety, and love envelop everyone present. Lily carefully uses a spoon to scoop up some of the tender apple filling, rich and gooey, perfectly spiced and sweet, and even more by the knowledge that her grandmother had guided her in creating it. Now, she delights in sharing this treat with her closest friends. As Lily opens her eyes, the soothing sound of rain greets her from outside. The droplets fall steadily, unaccompanied by wind, providing a gentle rhythm as they kiss the ground. She stretches luxuriously, yawning as she extends her arms and legs before sinking back into her soft bed for a few more peaceful moments before the day begins. Today is special. It's the annual cookie decorating party at the bakery. Although she baked several batches of sugar cookies yesterday, there's still much to prepare before her guests arrive later in the morning. This time of year fills her heart with joy. The bakery brims with warmth, laughter, and the cheerful faces of friends and neighbors on Cookie Day. After one last stretch, Lily rises from bed, slips into her fuzzy slippers, and retrieves her robe from its hook on the door. Wrapped snugly in its embrace, she tiptoes quietly toward the kitchen. Her morning routine unfolds like a cherished ritual. First, she boils water in the kettle, and then prepares a cup of cranberry orange spiced black tea using a metal tea ball, a wintertime favorite that's particularly delightful when steeped in hot water. After adding a splash of milk, she carries her steaming cup over to the wooden window seat. Outside, the dark morning reveals a faint glow from a neighbor's nightlight across the street, while most folks remain nestled in their slumber. As the baker who opens up each day, Lily is accustomed to rising before anyone else. She cherishes this role that allows her to start people's mornings with aromatic coffee and sweet treats. Peering out at the gloomy sky above, she recalls hearing predictions of snow. With a smile, she lightly touches the chilly glass on the window, thinking that it only needs to become just a bit colder for snowflakes to dance down from above. For Lily, snowy days always sprinkle an enchanting magic throughout the bakery. From her vantage point behind the counter, Lily has a perfect view of the street through the large windows. She delights in watching the snow gently pile up on the sidewalks, where children frolic and craft snowmen beneath the warm glow of street lamps. Although she has always found joy in the rain, Lily believes that everyone deserves a sprinkle of extra magic now and then. After finishing her tea, she rinses her cup and sets it to dry on the bamboo rack before heading back to her bedroom to get dressed. Every year, during the festive cookie party, Lily dons the same delightful sweater gifted to her at Christmas several years ago, adorned with a cheerful snowman set against a backdrop of towering trees. Its design is crafted from a patchwork of squares, featuring a silly grin that never fails to brighten her day. Her customers seem to share in her fondness for the sweater whenever she wears it. Once she's ready, donning her coat, scarf, hat, and gloves, Lily picks up her new umbrella, a vibrant green one speckled with yellow polka dots and topped with a handle shaped like a duck's head. She secures the cord around her wrist before stepping out of her bedroom and clicking the door shut behind her, embarking into the soft morning rain. The rain has lightened since she was nestled in bed. Now it falls as a gentle drizzle, yet she still cherishes the cozy warmth offered by her umbrella. As she strolls down the street, she opens it wide above her head, savoring the soothing sound of raindrops tapping against its cheerful fabric. This umbrella brings fond memories of her friends and loyal customers at the bakery who surprised her with it after her old one succumbed to an autumn storm. Their thoughtful gesture often warms her heart on rainy mornings like this, as she gazes up through the colorful polka dots marked with streaks of rain. Suddenly noticing something different at her neighbor's window, Lily is taken aback to see a black cat in place of the usual white one, peering out with curious eyes. Behind this new visitor, she catches a glimpse of white fur, recognizing it as belonging to the cat she typically sees on her way to work. Watching as both cats adjust their positions and curl up together like two cozy semicircles, Lily muses to herself, how lovely for the white cat to have found a new friend. Now they can keep each other company. With a cheerful smile, Lily strolls down to the bakery, where the vibrant, multicolored door soon comes into sight. The first soft rays of gray morning light dance on the horizon, revealing the various hand-painted shades. Upon arriving at the bakery, she unlocks the door and steps inside, welcomed by the comforting warmth that envelops her. After giving her umbrella a gentle shake and leaving it to dry in the entryway, Lily wipes her feet on the mat and takes a deep breath, making the transition from the cool outside world to the cozy interior. The delightful scent of roasted coffee beans mingles with a hint of burnt sugar from yesterday's cookies, bringing to mind sweet toasted marshmallows. She moves forward and flicks on the lights, brightening up the bakery. Heading to the seating area, she bends down to plug in a string of fairy lights that sparkle above. Now ready to begin her day, she typically starts by preparing a generous batch of sticky cinnamon rolls. However, today is slightly different. She still needs to bake a couple of batches of cookies to ensure there are plenty for later. Making her way to the pantry, Lily gathers all the dry ingredients she'll need. She's preparing double batches of chocolate chip cookies and stained glass sugar cookies. First, she pulls out flour, white sugar, brown sugar, vanilla extract, black treacle, and chocolate chips. Then she locates cornstarch and salt before retrieving a bag of colorful hard candies that she will melt down for the glass panes in her stained glass cookies. From the refrigerator, she grabs baking soda and eggs while letting butter soften on the countertop until it reaches just the right texture. Lily sorts everything by batch before mixing the dry and wet ingredients in separate bowls. Once everything is ready, she combines them until the dough achieves just the right consistency. For her chocolate chip cookies, she carefully folds in the chips to keep them intact before using an ice cream scoop to portion out equal amounts onto a tray and placing it in the oven to bake. As for her stained glass cookies, she wraps up the dough and refrigerates it so it can firm up for easier rolling and cutting into shapes later on. As the delightful scent of freshly baked cookies begins to fill the air, her first customer of the day steps inside. It's Seamus, as always, coming in for his morning cup of coffee and a little something sweet. Although he usually opts for a cinnamon roll, on cookie days, he likes to be the first to sample whatever Lily has created, playfully ensuring they've turned out just right with a glimmer in his eye. Lily has his coffee ready before he even reaches the counter, sliding it across the polished wooden surface toward him. Adjusting the newspaper tucked under his arm, Seamus lips the warm cup. "What flavors are you whipping up this year?" he asks eagerly, glancing at the oven with anticipation. "Chocolate chip, plain sugar, and stained glass," Lily responds with a cheerful smile. "Well then, I suppose I'll have to try one of each, if you don't mind," he replies. "After all, I need to ensure they're perfect." Lily laughs softly and nods in agreement. "Of course," she says warmly. "Cookie day wouldn't feel complete without you." Seamus finds a cozy spot by the window where he can enjoy a lovely view of the street dotted with puddles. Just as dawn starts to break through the thick clouds, though the sun still hides, the clouds shift to a gentler shade of gray. At that moment, a gentle beep from the timer signals that the chocolate chip cookies are ready to come out of the oven. Donning her oven mitts, Lily opens the door and is greeted by a rush of warm air as she peers inside. The cookies are perfectly fluffy and a beautiful golden brown, with gooey chocolate chips that hold their shape yet melt invitingly. Carefully, she removes the tray and sets it on a wire rack to cool. The enchanting aroma of freshly baked cookies envelops the bakery, a sweet scent that Lily believes transforms any space into a true home. Before long, it's time for her to take the sugar cookie dough out of the refrigerator. The dough feels cool and firm against her fingers. After placing it on her wooden table, she reaches for her rolling pin. With graceful, deliberate motions, she rolls the dough to achieve the perfect thickness. Next, she selects square, rectangular and circular cookie cutters to carve out the shapes. Then she uses a second set of cutters to create smaller designs within each cookie. These delightful shapes include bells, trees, ornaments, snowflakes, and more. She carefully arranges the cookies on a prepared baking sheet. Afterward, she sorts colorful hard candies into bags by color and crushes them into tiny bits with her rolling pin. With a teaspoon in hand, she sprinkles these sweet shards into the cut-out centers of the cookies. As they bake, the candy will melt together, forming a beautiful stained glass effect framed by the cookie window. Once everything is ready, she slides the trays into the oven to bake. For a brief moment, Lily can take a deep breath and enjoy the day unfolding around her. The sky has brightened up a bit despite the gentle drizzle outside. People are beginning to venture out from their homes, some strolling leisurely while others drive by. A few familiar faces enter the bakery gradually. Among them is Rose, a regular customer, along with Gwen Spencer and her 2 lively twin boys. Lily can tell them apart only because one wears glasses while the other does not. Otherwise, they are dressed alike in red shirts, blue jeans, and cozy green Walker socks. At just 2 years old, the twins love exploring the bakery's wonders, playing in the children's corner, and greeting other visitors. They also know that whenever they visit Lily's bakery, there's always a sweet treat waiting for them. As Lily gazes at the cheerful scene around her, she remembers that there's still a bit of work to do before the cookie party can commence. With a quick wipe of her hands on her apron, she strides over to the pantry, eager to gather all the delightful cookie decorating supplies she can find. There are sprinkles in every imaginable shape and hue, slender ones, flat ones, and shiny round balls in gold and silver. She also discovers jars filled with colorful decorative sugar, vibrant green, deep blue, bright red, sunny yellow, and lovely purple. Chocolate curls, fluffy coconut flakes, and tins of crushed peppermint candy join the collection. Carefully, she places everything into a large basket and carries it out to the seating area. Once there, she spreads an array of decorations across each table, adding tubes of icing sugar and colorful gel, along with shakers brimming with powdered sugar. Finally, from the farthest corner of the pantry, she retrieves a grand metal tree. Its ribbed branches are designed for hanging ornaments, but will instead showcase all the beautifully decorated cookies. When her timer chimes softly, Lily returns to the oven to retrieve the stained glass cookies. A smile brightens her face as she admires their perfection. Each cookie boasts a glossy center in radiant shades of red, blue, orange, yellow, or green. While they cool down, she takes out the plain sugar cookies she baked yesterday, already cut into whimsical shapes like snow people, evergreen trees, snowflakes, and stars. One by one, she arranges these delightful cookies onto large silver platters. Each table will have its own selection, so that everyone can choose their favorites to decorate. But before she brings out the larger trays filled with cookies, there's a special delivery she must make first. She carefully places one of each kind of cookie onto a small plate and sets it down right in front of Seamus. His face lights up with joy as he lifts a chocolate chip cookie to his mouth. Taking a bite, he sighs contentedly. "I think these are the best cookies you've ever made," he declares with delight. In fact, I believe they're absolutely perfect. This is what he tells her every year about each batch of cookies. A warm glow fills Lily's heart as she reflects on the joy that comes from creating something others love. Each time she bakes a cinnamon roll, croissant, or cookie that brings someone happiness, it adds a little more brightness to her day. As she returns to the counter, Lily gathers each of the larger trays and places them on the tables. A quick glance at the clock reveals that it's nearly time for guests to arrive. Just then, as if summoned by her thoughts, the door swings open and the first visitors step inside. It's a new family in town, their faces reflecting a charming shyness as they take in their surroundings. Lily greets them with a warm wave, inviting them to choose any table and begin whenever they wish. With grateful smiles, they settle at a spot close to the entrance. Next, an elderly couple enters, here to visit their grandchildren. They always make it a point to stop by whenever they're in town. Taking a seat near Seamus, they exchange friendly hellos before getting comfortable. One by one, familiar faces from the community fill Lily's bakery, young and old, some alone, and others accompanied by loved ones. All gathering for the annual cookie decorating party. Laughter and chatter fill the air as everyone finds their place around tables brimming with supplies, accompanied by the delightful sounds of sprinkles being shaken and icing tubes being squeezed. In this cozy atmosphere, Lily feels a deep sense of contentment wash over her. There's no other place she'd rather be than here, enveloped in the warmth and camaraderie of her community. As she glances out the window, she notices gentle snowflakes beginning to fall from the sky. A child spots them too. "Look, it's snowing," the little girl exclaims, catching her mother's attention. The room hushes as everyone turns to witness the delicate snowflakes dusting everything outside. Lily wonders if her neighbors' cats are also mesmerized by the snowy scene from their window. Whether it's the joy of being surrounded by friends or the magic of winter that enchants her, she can't quite tell. But something compels her to step outside and feel the snow against her skin, even if just for a fleeting moment. With quiet determination, she moves around the counter, opens the door, and steps into the crisp air, gazing up at the sky above. Spreading her arms wide, she twirls slowly as snowflakes dance down onto her face. A smile spreads across her lips as she playfully sticks out her tongue to catch one of those tiny flakes. Taking in her surroundings, she marvels at the serene beauty of this snowy day. Everything seems hushed and magical beneath its white blanket. In the distance, a crow leaves its footprints in the fresh snow, mirroring her own boot prints beside it. With a cheerful wave goodbye to both the crow and the enchanting snowfall, Lily turns back toward her cozy bakery, leaving behind that winter wonderland for now. All around her, people are delighting in the art of cookie decorating. Lily watches as they create palm-sized snowmen dressed in cozy scarves and hats, vibrant green trees embellished with colorful ornaments, and delicate white and blue snowflakes with intricately iced edges. There are cookies shaped like candles, their curving yellow flames flickering cheerfully. Stained glass cookies, dusted with a sprinkle of powdered sugar and tied with ribbons, catch her eye along with chocolate chip cookies that bear the marks of eager little bites. A few early decorators have begun to hang their cookie creations on a metal tree nestled in the corner. While many take their sweet treats home, some choose to leave one behind on the tree, where it will stay until the arrival of the new year. Lily reaches for a stained glass cookie, bringing it close to her lips. As she takes a bite, she savors the buttery crumbs that melt blissfully in her mouth, while the sweet candy glass at its center dances on her tongue. There's nothing quite like a freshly baked cookie, Lily muses to herself. For the rest of the day, she plans to help her friends embellish their cookies in all sorts of fun and imaginative ways, and might even treat herself to an afternoon coffee. But for now, she simply relishes the festive ambiance as magical snowflakes drift down outside the bakery window. The gentle tapping against the glass stirs Lily from her thoughts. With her eyes still closed, she basks in a few more moments of tranquility. Unbeknownst to her, she drifts back into slumber, where the sound of rain merges with images of glistening streets and shimmering puddles. Gradually, as dreams fade away, her awareness returns to her cozy bedroom. A smile spreads across Lily's face as she finally opens her eyes, appreciating those extra minutes of rest. Even now, she can hear the rain softening outside. It might stop altogether, she thinks as she stretches her arms high above her head. She rolls her toes in gentle circles, feeling warmth spread through her ankles with each motion before swinging her legs off the bed to greet the day ahead. After slipping into her snug slippers, Lily makes her way to the kitchen. As she often does in the mornings, she sets the kettle on the stove for a delightful cup of tea. The sound of bubbles forming inside the kettle is a soothing melody, a familiar and comforting background in the stillness of the early day. For Lily, bubbles and rain are the two constants that make this time feel like home. Before dawn breaks, she reflects on the small yet meaningful details of her life, while carefully scooping dry tea leaves into a tall tea ball and twisting it shut. She hangs the ball from her mug's rim with a delicate chain. When the water reaches a boil, Lily pours it over the leaves and watches as the hot water transforms into beautiful hues, capturing her attention as they steep. This simple act brings her joy. No matter how many mornings she brews her tea, it always reveals new color patterns in her mug. The ritual of making tea feels both familiar and refreshingly exciting. Adding a splash of milk to her brew, Lily carries her steaming cup to her wooden window seat. Gazing through the glass, she takes in her neighborhood, still shrouded in darkness. The rain has eased into a gentle mist, and she can see wisps of fog curling in behind her neighbor's house. Across the street lives a man who tends to a magnificent garden throughout spring and summer. Even in autumn, his plants seem perfectly arranged. The fallen brown, red, and yellow leaves scattered across his lawn create an artistic splatter on a canvas of green. At this hour, he remains asleep like most of their neighbors. With a smile, Lily thinks to herself, I must be one of the earliest risers in town. Though her bakery demands early mornings, Lily embraces them wholeheartedly. It brings her happiness to know that when others wake up, they will find a warm and inviting place waiting for them. Her gaze drifts across the street to notice freshly turned soil, a sign that he must have planted bulbs yesterday. Remembering that she should do the same, Lily thinks about the small garden beside her bakery, where she has enjoyed growing various crops over the years. From herbs to tomatoes and peppers, it has now transformed into a flower garden, or will become spring if she plants those bulbs soon enough. These bulbs rely on the cool autumn earth to awaken from their slumber and take root for the season ahead. I mustn't forget to bring them to the bakery today, she reminds herself gently. After savoring her tea, Lily takes one last look out the window. The fog has begun to envelop the house across the street. A predicted event, she remembers. Foggy days have always been a favorite of hers. They possess a certain magic that feels enchanting, as if hidden wonders and realms of possibility are waiting just out of sight. This thought brings a smile to her face as she rises, carries her mug to the sink, washes it, and leaves it to air dry on the bamboo rack before heading to her bedroom to get dressed. Choosing a red shirt adorned with yellow accents for the day, she thinks to herself, on a gray day like this, I might as well add a splash of color to my outfit. By the front door lies a paper bag filled with flower bulbs, eagerly awaiting her attention. The bulbs vary in texture from somewhat firm to slightly soft, and include daffodil, narcissus, and crocus varieties that remind her of onions and garlic, while the hyacinth bulbs, with their reddish-purple tint, conjure images of turnips. Lily puts on her coat and gently slips the bag of bulbs into a roomy pocket. After donning her hat and gloves, she secures her green and yellow polka dot umbrella around her wrist. As she opens the door, she pauses to take in the serene street outside, where the fog blankets everything in a soft haze, offering only a faint glimpse of the pavement merging with the road in front of her home. She imagines the neighboring houses resting peacefully within the gentle embrace of gray. Taking a deep breath, Lily delights in the fresh, invigorating scent of the air, cleansed by recent tonneau and fog. Feeling revitalized, she closes the door behind her and sets off on her stroll. Although small puddles dot the pavement, none are large enough to impede her progress. Her boots allow her to navigate them carefully. Observing how little water has collected, she reflects. The rain last night must have been light and brief. Relishing her walk to the bakery without needing an umbrella, Lily gazes up at the gray sky where fog dances around treetops, intertwining with branches and leaves. She extends her hand into the mist and feels tiny droplets gather on her skin. Instead of wiping them away on her coat, she brings her hands together as if welcoming this moisture into her skin like lotion. Finding comfort in this connection with nature, she revels in her bond with the weather, trees, and sky. As Lily shifts her gaze toward where her neighbor's house ought to be, she can only make out the faint outline of the driveway, shrouded in a soft veil of white and gray fog. Thoughts of her neighbor's 2 cats, one black and one white, flit through her mind. She imagines them snuggled together in their favorite window nook, possibly dreaming of warm summer afternoons and fragrant catnip. Continuing on her path, she listens to the gentle rhythm of her footsteps tapping against the pavement, each sound amplified by the surrounding mist. Under this ethereal blanket, every noise feels more pronounced, enhancing her awareness of the world around her. It takes Lily a bit longer than usual to locate the bakery. The familiar, multicolored door briefly emerges from the swirling fog before disappearing once more. A smile spreads across her face. Even if she couldn't see it at all, she would still know it was there. After countless morning walks over the years, she could navigate this route with her eyes closed. Yet still, it brings her comfort to catch sight of it and to know that soon she will step inside, enveloped by the beloved aromas of freshly brewed coffee, sweet sugar, and a warm flower as she plugs in the twinkling fairy lights that will breathe life into her little shop. She retrieves her set of keys and carefully selects the right one for the lock. As she steps inside, she wipes her feet on the mat and flicks on the overhead lights. She removes her coat and hangs it up, leaving the bulbs tucked safely in its pocket. Before making her way behind the counter, she finds the end of the fairy light strand in the seating area and connects it to power. They spring to life above her with a cheerful flicker. That might just be my favorite moment of the day, she muses quietly to herself. The twinkling lights signal that she has returned home to her bakery. Filled with gratitude for this warm haven, Lily takes a deep breath, savoring the deliciously familiar scents that envelop her. The aroma of coffee beans is rich and inviting. The flour is dusty, evoking memories of weekends spent baking delightful treats with her grandmother. And then there's the sugary scent, sweet with just a hint of caramelization, reminding her of joyous days at fairs and holiday cookies shaped like trees and ornaments. Letting out a contented sigh, she feels tension melt away from her muscles. She rolls her shoulders gently to loosen them before stepping behind the counter with a sense of belonging. Before leaving the bakery yesterday, she had set aside a cherished recipe for one of her favorite wintertime delights, fudge. The sight of the well-loved handwritten page, marked with cocoa powder smudges and slightly tattered at one corner, evoked the rich, chocolatey flavor in her mind. Yes, she mused, this is precisely what I want to create today. One of the things she adored most about this recipe was its simplicity. It required just 2 main ingredients, chocolate chips and sweetened condensed milk. Lily paused to consider which flavors of fudge she should prepare. Some of her regular customers often asked for peppermint, so she would need to retrieve the peppermint extract and a bag of candy canes to crush on top. Rose had a particular fondness for hazelnut fudge, so whole hazelnuts would be essential for that batch. Lastly, Lily was craving a decadent orange chocolate fudge for herself, and she was delighted to find some leftover candied orange peel that would add an extra zing. Venturing into the pantry, she gathered her trusty double boiler, appropriately sized pans, wax paper, chocolate chips, sweetened condensed milk, and all the flavorings and toppings needed. Carefully carrying them behind the counter, Lily admired her shiny silver double boiler, the secret to achieving perfectly melted chocolate chips, as her mother had once taught her. Over the years, despite trying various methods with bowls and pots, Lily always remembered her mother's advice when it came time to start her bakery. Thus, she invested in her own gleaming double boiler. Filling the bottom pot with water halfway, she placed the second pot atop it and set everything on the stove. Then she poured a generous amount of chocolate chips into the upper pot. As the water began to warm up beneath it, steam enveloped the chocolate chips, melting them evenly and preventing any chance of burning. With a wooden spoon in hand, she gently stirred the chips, watching in delight as they transformed from solid chunks into a smooth and gooey mixture swirling around in the pot. Before long, the chocolate chips transform into a velvety pool of melted goodness. As Lily adds the sweetened condensed milk, she stirs the mixture to combine all the ingredients seamlessly. Once she lifts the pot from the heat, she incorporates a spoonful of peppermint extract into the warm fudge. The sharp and invigorating scent of peppermint fills the air, awakening her senses and bringing back memories of frosty winter days blanketed in snow and ice. With a swift motion, she pours the chocolate concoction into a pan lined with wax paper, letting the fudgy liquid cascade like ribbons into every corner of the container, reminiscent of molten lava flowing through rocky terrain. Ensuring not a drop is wasted, Lily scrapes the sides of the pot with her wooden spoon before gently lifting the pan and giving it a light tap on the counter to help the mixture settle evenly. Next comes the delightful topping. Retrieving a sturdy rolling pin from a nearby drawer, Lily unwraps several red and white candy canes one by one, peeling away their plastic wrappers. A slight stickiness lingers on her fingertips from the sugary treats as she places them in a bag, nestled between two towels, and rolls the pin back and forth over them. The soft, crunching sounds signal that the candy is breaking into smaller pieces. Once crushed into fine fragments, she scoops some up in her hand and sprinkles them generously over the cooling fudge. The larger bits will add a satisfying crunch, while the smaller shards will infuse an extra touch of peppermint flavor. Lily then transfers the fudge to cooling racks, where it will rest until it's ready to be cut and enjoyed. In the meantime, she tidies up her pot and prepares for her next 2 batches. Before beginning again, she grates an entire orange for its zest. The vibrant zest, along with orange oil, will elevate her fudge with a bright citrus note. After melting another batch of chocolate chips and mixing them with milk, she stirs in both zest and oil. The melted fudge gleams under the light as everything blends together smoothly. Lily imagines how wonderfully it will melt in her mouth with that first bite. To finish off this creation, she decorates it with curls of candied orange peel on top, gently pressing them down to secure their place. Indulging in a piece herself, she savors the intense citrus flavor that dances beautifully with the rich sweetness of chocolate. Next, it was time to make the hazelnut fudge. Just as Lily was about to heat some water on the stove, Rose appeared across the counter. "It's so foggy outside," she commented to Lily. She shared how she had felt a bit lost that morning when leaving her house, initially thinking she had taken a wrong turn because the dense fog surrounded her. Eventually, however, she caught sight of the bakery's twinkling lights in the distance, like guiding stars, leading her through the mist to a place she knew well. Lily beamed as Rose recounted her adventure, excited to tell her about the hazelnut fudge they were about to make. "That's my favorite," Rose exclaimed, softly clapping her hands together. Lily poured Rose a warm cup of coffee, and Rose nestled into a comfy chair by the window. Returning to the stove, Lily set up the double boiler and mixed together chocolate and milk just as before. After taking it off the heat, she added hazelnut flavoring and crushed hazelnuts before pouring the mixture into a lined pan. To top it off, she carefully arranged whole hazelnuts in neat rows on the fudge, giving each piece a delightful crunch and rich taste. As the enticing aroma of hazelnut fudge filled the air, mingling with hints of orange and peppermint, a perfect blend for a chilly day, Lily caught sight of Rose smiling. While they waited for the fudge to cool, Lily decided to plant some bulbs. It's a quiet day. I'll have a clear view of anyone coming in, she thought. She approached Rose and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. I'll be outside if you need anything, she reassured her. To Lily's surprise, Rose offered to join her, a lovely chance for companionship in the garden. Although Lily enjoyed spending time alone with her plants, she always cherished moments spent with dear friends. After all these years, Rose had truly become one of those treasured friends. Hand in hand, Lily and Rose approach the door, donning their coats and wrapping their scarves snugly around their necks as they step outside. In the quaint little garden, Lily pulls a bag of flower bulbs from her pocket. Meanwhile, Rose discovers a workbench adorned with a few tools and finds a couple of trowels nestled among them. The two friends kneel on the soft earth, chuckling as the cool soil seeps into their trouser knees and begin to dig. They share fond memories of the many seasons spent at the bakery. There was that time when Max from the hardware store accidentally ordered 12 dozen cupcakes instead of 2 dozen for his daughter's birthday celebration, leading them to give away cupcakes for days on end. Then there was that summer storm that washed out some roads, leaving visitors stranded in town. Everyone rallied at the bakery, brewing coffee, preparing snacks, and gathering blankets and children's books to ensure that those stuck were comfortable until the roads were cleared. Do you remember all the wonderful moments we've had here? Rose asks with a smile. Lily nods thoughtfully as she presses the soil around the last flower bulb. Stepping back, she admires their creation. Rose joins her side, and they stand together in a peaceful silence, reflecting on the cherished years they've shared. Lily gazes at the fairy lights twinkling like stars in the misty night, inviting those seeking shelter from the storm, a bakery that welcomes all on rainy days.